All right. Well, good evening or afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to a special episode of Western Cinema Presents. Now, as you all are aware, we've been wanting to do Back to the Future 3 for quite some time now. And,
Indeed.
and of course, next to me, well, damn it.
Mad Dog Pennon, or you know him as the host of the show, Jedi Bill.
Yes, yes.
Hello, everybody, and partners. How you doing today? Welcome to Western Cinema Presents. You
Right.
may
Like I was
continue,
saying,
deleted.
yes. As I was saying before I boomered it, just to let you know it was me. Bill and I have been wanting to do Back to the Future 3 for quite some time now. But we thought, it's not really right unless we did the first two films.
Yep.
But, not really Westerns, not really what we do here. So we asked Troy and Netter, now that they are doing a last call Monday night at the movies, which is a double feature show, would they like to collaborate with us on doing the whole trilogy, part 1 and 2 on their show, and then complete the trilogy with this program. Of course, after absorbing several minutes of gratuitous verbal insult, they agreed. And they were saying something about, why do we need to do your little tiny Western show? It's not what we do. We're city folk. No.
Oh, gosh.
No, we're suburbanites.
Well, yeah.
But no seriousness. They agreed. They like the movies too. They wanted to do it. So last Monday night, we appeared on Monday Night at the Movies for the first two films, and here we are to complete the trilogy. And of course, introductions. For those who don't know, of course, last call, Troy Pacelli, and of course, Netter's Network.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome.
I would like to take a moment to say hello to everyone who is following along today on Rumble. I almost said Twitter. We don't have anybody on Twitter just yet. I want to say hello to everybody who's following us on Rumble. And of course, here live with us in the chat, the loyal Blue Wrench, the Bird Woman of YouTube. Stay tuned to her second channel, Fluff Check Productions. Of course, Connie Clary. And also joining us in the chat, Storyman Jack.
Hello, Story Man. Good to see you, pal.
JPRPH1. I would appreciate it if everybody hit the like, share out the stream, let everybody know that we're live. And of course, if you are new to my channel or Bill's or Troy and Netter's, and please hit the bell icon for notifications and subscribe. A little bit of business on my end of things. I'm 19 subscribers away from 2,200. So I'd
nice.
very much like to hit that goal sometime soon. So,
Yep, and as I just mentioned on my channel,
on-
less than 20 hours away
500.
from monetization.
Oh, glorious.
I know. This stream could actually do it. If not, definitely this week. Definitely this week.
Look at you there.
Right on. We're moving on up.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hopefully,
Samuel.
Samuel. Hello. Oh, I got to scroll down. Okay,
That
didn't know it was
could
this
help.
early to film research. Yeah. Yes, 19 hours away from monetization. So, all right, let's do our best to get that with this episode. All right. So, Troy Nutter, since you're the guest, and you're usually better at summarizing these things a little bit better than I am. Where did we leave off with part two? Because we ended in a bit of a
We're going
cliffhanger.
back to the future.
No, actually, we're going back to the past this time. So yeah, so I think everybody knows at least the story of the first Back to the Future. Marty is good friends with Dr. Emmett Brown, an engineer and scientist who has created a time machine out of a DeLorean. And through a number of mishaps, Marty ends up going back to 1955, meeting his parents, actually preventing his own birth and having to correct history to set everything right again. This leads to a little overcompensation, which involves Doc Brown taking him into the future to deal with a situation related to his kids, setting up a few future unresolved storylines that will possibly get taken care of by this episode. The end of the episode sees Dr. Brown accidentally getting shot far into the past, into the Old West, and sending Marty a Western Union telegram to let him know where he was, and because
okay.
Marty is trapped in 1955. So that's kind of where we left off at the end of last episode. He's got to figure out how to get, in theory, Doc Brown wants him to just get home, but he's going to have to figure out how to get back and help Dr. Brown in the past. So that's why it's a Western. The whole thing takes place most of it takes place in the Old West.
Of it. Yeah. It's the most Western of the sci-fi classic.
Yep.
Grab your spurs, grab your chaps,
Yep, exactly.
and buckle up. We're in for a fun ride here.
And unless I'm mistaken, every single channel that's hosting this multicast has Jedi Bill's Cosme link posted to the top of the chat. So, of course, you can watch along with us if you don't have your own copy.
Yep. We're got as much as we'd love to show these here on YouTube, we just can't. Copyright law is a thing, and we can't show that due to copyright and the bylaws of YouTube. We're not major network. We're just small time.
But if you think about it, this is a kind of a private show. Those of you that join us here on YouTube are our special guests. So we're having you into our virtual living rooms, hosted by Cosme, to watch the movie along with us.
So are we ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get this thing started. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
What streaming service do you use?
This is my own collection.
So yeah, okay, I see how you do it. You've got a
Voodoo.
cloud deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do
But
love.
I have almost everything that I own also on a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Sure. So I love the fact that Universal uses all the old logos. It kind of course, it is for the 75th anniversary, but it's a little bit, little bit of a nod to the time travel element.
Mm-hmm.
And this musical cue, very dreamlike.
Yeah.
I think that's intentional. A little bit of a recap from the end of last episode. Which in turn is kind of also a recap from the end of the first movie.
Hello, Willie's Movies and Music. Good to see ya.
Hey, Corey.
Welcome, welcome. And again, that split-second timing implies to me that this is all part of a predestination paradox. Mm-hmm. It works because it's meant to work.
Samuel Proctor says, I think a few studios that having 100th anniversary has been doing that. I think I've seen Paramount show their historic logos.
Oh, sure. They've done it for a while now. Whether it's 100, 75, whatever. Yeah, they've done that. It's not new.
I don't know if you guys said hello to Samuel Proctor, so hello, Samuel Proctor.
Yep.
Here we have Marty returning Doc Brown to his 1955 home.
Right.
Nice place. And from, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2, where you find out that his family had been very wealthy.
Yep.
And he had spent
his entire fortune.
Yeah, almost his entire fortune inventing the time machine. It's the only thing he ever invented that worked.
I'll tell you what, a time machine is... If you're going to have one invention, that's the one. I think every episode starts out with him sleeping.
Yeah. Oh, look, little tiny Einstein.
Yep. Those little bitty TVs. Starting our broadcast day.
Since apparently Cosme is not logging me in, which anonymous creature am I?
Anonymous lion.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Got to work on your situational awareness there, Dr. Brown.
Here we go.
Yeah. Ooh! Ow! kind of redoing the bit from the first movie.
Yeah.
See, for a scientist, he's off. He's it should be very obvious to him how these things could happen. He's not thinking four-dimensionally.
I also once ran into Seth MacFarlane. Long story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Million Ways to Die in the West prequel is weird. Actually, not that weird when you think about it. Oh, right. Not the same dog.
This dog plays chess.
Yes.
Oh. Copernicus.
They're
I
all
mean-
named after famous scientists. Dogs.
I mean, for crying out loud, 30 years, yeah, maybe you get a little bit more eloquent. Didn't work for me, but, maybe it worked for Dr. Brown.
Is this tied to frighteners as well?
I would like to think so, yes. But you notice he said, I think you woke the dead with that blast. In a way, he did, right? because little foreshadowing there.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a couple people that are going to be saved from death because of him getting the time machine back. Okay, so you're talking about instead some sort of a viewing mechanism, a temporal view screen. Yeah, that would be good. That would probably be the best, right? You can learn about history by observing it without actually disrupting anything.
I like.
There's
He's got the DeLorean on wood blocks.
Yep. There is a conspiracy theory that the Vatican, in their secret archives, has plans for such a view screen. There's a whole story behind it. Supposedly was used to witness the crucifixion and whatnot. That's been mostly debunked, but that story's out there.
You need to build an interocitor. Then you need to turn the dial 10 degrees to the left. No?
I
Okay.
have no idea.
The Silent Earth? Never mind.
I mean, as long as the dial goes to 11, that's what's important.
Well, of course. Gotta turn it up to 11, dude.
Find out the nature of his own future, even if it is in the past.
Yeah.
I actually think this is some great writing.
Yeah.
That Copernicus is the one that finds his grave, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the moment they this, and you can get to have a whole debate about this. The moment they traveled in time, they produced a ripple effect. You
Right.
throw a stone into a pond, and you get the ripple effect.
Sure.
Oh.
I'll be right back.
Tendency to drool.
All right, who wants to read this one?
I bring up again the meme of the time traveler who goes to see Jesus, where he turns directly to him and says to him in perfect modern English, "You aren't supposed to be here." That would be freaky, right? Like, sorry. Just call me Thomas. I love the fact that he's using vacuum tubes.
Yeah, they're like
talk about a hodgepodge of technologies. He's got the fusion machine from the future. He's got vacuum tubes from the 50s.
I love this drive-in.
Yeah. Couldn't do that these days. You'd be called racist and accused of cultural appropriations and all that kind of stuff.
And notice this in Monument Valley,
Yep.
which is part in Utah and Arizona.
Gosh. Unfortunately, just before the pandemic, our drive-in nearest us shut down.
If you can find them, there are a few drive-ins that are still open. Now, instead of a speaker box, you can listen to your audio through your radio.
Yeah. See, this is really funny because Doc is right from his perspective, right? Because to him, those Indians are a painting on a mural, and the mural won't be there. He won't crash into it. It's a complete coincidence that when he gets there, there actually is a bunch of Indians on horses. Oh, thank you. Gracious. Man. Yeah.
Or just let them pass me.
Can you imagine? And I could totally have seen Doc Brown doing this. To go forward in time, you got to go 88 miles an hour forward. But to go back in time, you have to back up at 88 miles an hour. That would be difficult.
That's what I love about Back to the Future 3, that this is not just a sci-fi movie, it's paying homage to Westerns.
Oh, yeah.
They hit every Western trope with some stunts.
Now, this is what I find interesting, because unless I'm mistaken, that's the same cave that they just blasted open in the future.
It is.
Well, Samuel Proctor, do you mean in 1885? I mean, it's
I get back down.
It's all frontier land. Hill Valley exists, but it's just a frontier town. The strong implication is that in 1955, there hadn't been any noticeable changes. An arrow.
Arrows shot at it.
And he always has to have like a newspaper or a picture, something to refer back to make sure the time has changed.
Uh-oh.
And there's a bear.
Well, it does kind of make sense, I guess. The bear, too.
That would be a California black bear.
Yep. You can find them on the flag.
Yep.
He stole his boots.
You left your boots.
Yep. Ow.
And he doesn't think he looks like him?
Well,
This is funny. The same thing happens in 3 different time periods.
Yeah, but how long was he asleep this time? I missed it because you were talking. First time was 9 hours. Second time was 6 hours.
my I
Calvin Klein, Clint Eastwood.
He's like making sure he has pants on this time.
Yeah, exactly.
I do dig his outfit. He's got that symbol on his with a fringe. He's got the radioactive type of symbol.
Yeah. Oh my God, that looks good. The horse broke down.
the horse broke down.
My horse went lame. Oh my God, the water.
I mean, right? Oh, sure, buckshot. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, she crosses in front because of the handoff. The split screen was a little rough there. Well, it's true. He's definitely connected to you.
Well, they gave him a hat.
Yep. See, that's the thing. I think people are so used to, the Stetson hats from all the westerns, not realizing that there was all different kinds of styles of hats that were worn.
Yeah, straw hats, pork pies.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It happens sometimes. There's buffering. Now they have a lot of fun with some of the businesses. Like you saw the used car lot is now a horse dealer. Proceeds to construct the clock tower. Yeah.
Undertaken. And I noticed how his great-great-grandmother had an Irish accent.
Yes. Well, they both
Hello.
were Irish. Hey, PJ.
Hello,
Welcome.
Orville Nation.
Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, and this makes it a lot easier, right? Because the whole town was originally a facade anyway, right?
Yep. God for hanging.
Ew. Well, it had to happen to you eventually, Marty. Biff can't get it all,
Step out of it, dummy. Now wipe your shoes in the dirt.
He always finds a way to wear a pair of Nikes, doesn't he?
Right.
He should have wiped his shoes off in the dirt to get the poop off. They're not going to have Pepsi here, or Pepsi free,
right,
or Diet Pepsi.
And of course, Stub Taylor, Harry Carey Jr.
Yep.
That's Mr. Heine.
Yep.
I guess he always sounded like that.
All the Western standards.
Matt Clark, of course. He was in a ton of movies, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, another fine character actor.
That's all you got is whiskey?
Oh, look at that steaming. That's some serious whiskey. No, I'm not Seamus McFly.
Like that's supposed to mean something to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, that is an anachronistic name.
Actually, it's a sign of Apollo.
Right.
They're all like, whoop. Is he? I mean, you know that's not him actually
Right.
moonwalking because you could tell from his upper body it's not him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah!
ew, ew. Try not to
And
vomit.
he's like, that wasn't even intentional. See, this is another one of those situations where I'm like, predestination paradox. There's no way, fortune would favor him that well if it wasn't.
Well, if you counted how many shots were fired at his feet,
Well, good point. Good point.
why does everyone that's trying to run from somebody always run in a straight line?
I know.
I would be dodging off to left or to the right.
Down an alley.
Yeah.
Back the way he came.
Because those horses can't spin on a dime.
Ow. Yeah, I heard that this actually went wrong in the filming, and he did get hung. It was almost
Yeah.
It was almost pretty tragic. I mean, that's a hell of a scope.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not charging him for the cost of the horse.
He has a $75.
Oh, did he say 75 for the horse?
Yeah. Because he killed the horse because it threw a shoe.
Even Doc Brown should have known how anachronistic the atomic symbols on his shoulders were.
Yeah.
And welcome, Jesse Guajardo.
Yeah, welcome.
Well, not if she's the Edith Keeler of your story.
Yeah.
Nah, see, I have a hard time buying that, Samuel Proctor, because they are in California. There's no doubt they could have gotten more authentic movie
Yeah.
movie quality, costumes.
Heck, I can walk into Kohl's and probably find something that is more appropriate.
But it is speaking to Doc Brown's very faulty knowledge of history.
Notice
Implying
how,
his,
how the barn here looks a lot like his home with all the clocks. The
oh,
clocks.
sure.
I like that touch.
Okay, Mister, what's that note that he just got?
That's still the article about his death in the future.
Well, I heard him say something like, "Now we know who Clara is."
You just announced she's coming in on the train.
Oh.
I blame the Rhinestone Cowboy. Yeah, I agree with you, Jesse. Well, in fairness, that this predates Rhinestone Cowboy by about 20 years, because in 1955 they were going with the Hollywood interpretations of the West. That's a single ice cube. But that's what it takes, to have a condenser.
Where are you going to get gas?
That is an interesting inversion, right? Now that he's in 1885, fusion isn't the problem, it's the gasoline. Yeah, you're not going to get a car up to 88 miles an hour with horses.
That's with a 6-horse carriage.
Can you run a gas engine on alcohol? Kind of, but this is basically the result. Actually, if they could wait until winter, that's true. That would be a good option.
There's the answer. The train.
Will the train go up to 88 miles an hour?
A coal burning engine? No. He's got another option. See, there you go again. The bridge will be there in the future. See, and this is where the ravine would have gotten its name changed. They had that set up.
What was the other name?
Right now, it's called Shonash after the Indian tribe.
Uh-huh.
But after she goes over the edge, it's named after her.
Okay, Doc is actually riding really fast. Marty isn't.
Well, Doc Brown has had some time to practice. He's better on a horse. Yeah, that would have made dead. Yes.
There's my avatar.
So now it's never going to be called Clayton Ravine.
Wonder if she has any cousin, like Clayton.
Yeah.
Could have ties to Tombstone.
So it looks like they managed to get some of her belongings back.
That might have actually been intentional. Kind of give it that kind of a grounding. Million Ways to Die in the West is part. Yes, exactly. I think that was implied. Yeah.
Yep, it was destiny. It was density.
Right. Now, if you break it down into the different timelines, Doc Brown going back in time might have affected history had he not been run afoul of Mad Dog Tannen and gotten killed so quickly, right? Although he had already changed history by rescuing her. So the fact that both of them don't belong there, getting them out of time is probably the best way to go. Yep.
Yeah, you caused the ripple effect.
Yep, that's why I said, just like Edith Keeler.
Then Joan of Arcadia would have been recast.
Aha, good point.
Damn.
Well, the thing about walkie-talkies is those will work. They don't require something like a cell tower or something.
No, but if the batteries died.
Well, true.
The little square 9-volt batteries,
Right.
usually.
Which I don't have any scientific proof of this, but I've always felt like those things held less charge than any other battery.
I remember my older brother and his friends daring me to stick my tongue to the 9-volt battery, and I was dumb enough to do it.
Yeah, something tells me that Clint Eastwood wasn't named after some unknown cowboy in Hill Valley.
Hi, the DeLorean.
Again, yeah. This time, instead of it being Lorraine, it's Mary Steenburgen's character.
Claire Clayton.
Right, Clara. Why is Clara such a popular name for time-traveling women?
Right.
She looked beautiful in this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is her second film in the time genre. I loved her in
Yeah.
Time After Time.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She played H.G. Wells' girlfriend.
Yep.
I like her hat.
I guess we are now.
That's a beautiful brass telescope.
Yep.
And I can make that outfit.
Yes, you could. I was just evaluating the collar.
Well, it also doesn't have a huge bustle, which I like. And for that time period, she wouldn't anyway.
Putin's cat in the Cosme chat says she was about 35 when she made this. It's a good age for most women.
She's a very handsome woman. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you, Putin's cat. The ZZ Top fans, stand by. We have ZZ Top coming up soon.
Ah, you don't need it.
They don't smile. Here we go. Here's ZZ
ZZ
Top.
Top, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a great part of this film, seeing ZZ Top there. And since Marty had played those arcade games,
Yep.
only problem is those arcade games, they don't give a kick when you fire them like a real weapon does.
True.
He's got hat hair.
She's got a lavender boutonniere. So yeah, let's just cut through it. Yeah, I'll dance with you. Well, hell, why not then? I gotta kill some time. We duck and dance? In 2015, when he goes to play the game, the kid's like, "You got to use your hands. This is like a baby's game."
Yeah, can I put it in my right hand? Which
Yeah,
right-handed?
exactly.
$7-Eleven. 7-Eleven.
Hello, Big
Hey.
Al.
Hey, Big Al.
Welcome. Good to see you, my friend.
Well,
I do like the way they establish all the lineages here, and you kind of get the idea of how the families have a personality throughout the generations.
yeah.
Like that, the knife too. Oh, that's the principal.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he had hair.
A lot of it.
Well, we actually don't know what's under the hat.
They're
He-
going
you
for
know.
like a Wild Bill, Hickok
Hickok?
kind of
Yeah.
look. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually came across a deleted scene today. Ironically, just before we got started, where Mad Dog shoots the marshal in the back,
Oh.
kills him, and before he dies, the marshal says to the boy, "Remember that word I told you, discipline," and dies.
There you go.
I like the frisbee pie pans far out.
Yeah.
Because frisbee,
Exactly.
Yeah, somebody
fact-
could make a lot of money off that.
Right.
The future California's pastime.
In fact, another tidbit I learned today. As of the 25th of May, that's 34 years of this movie. 34-year anniversary.
Wow.
waiting for ZZ Top to start spinning the guitars.
They're going to.
Yeah.
Give them a minute.
I can imagine I'd probably smell like a horse's ass.
Yeah, exactly.
With all
Oh, I
that
can't
dirt
even
and grime on it.
That breath is probably horrid.
Hey, Clint Eastwood, you want to get in here? There you go. What that mean? Oh no.
It's like, no, I'm an American.
Oh, what's wrong? You never had chicken before?
Just tell the whole town.
That's right, Jesse. Where do you think the term dude ranch comes from? Yes. You missed a gun. There we go. Shoot him down like a duck. Well, no, actually that works too, if you think about it. I'll tell you what, you bring that back with you to the present, that'll be an incredibly valuable piece. Well, that does kind of make sense.
But he just saw how he shoots.
Yeah. Learned a little lesson there. Is that before or after a firearm expert claims it's a fake? Exactly.
Well, especially if you bring it to Pawn Stars, where
Right.
they have an expert for everything.
Can you see the expert going, well, I don't know. I mean, it looks in every way authentic, but it's not aged. I mean, it looks brand new.
Hey, Tim. We're watching the third, part 3, Back to the Future 3. The one set in the Old West.
I like how he backtracks. It made me feel like a little boy.
Yeah.
Think he's got enough clocks?
Well, Doc Brown is a success for time.
That's true.
Makes you
At least
kind of
that
makes
toast
you
isn't
wonder
burnt.
where did his obsession with time begin.
Maybe he was late for a very important event, and he was determined for that to not ever happen again. Nice long johns.
The Colt Peacemaker, the gun that won the West. And welcome, Tim.
Here's the thing that gets me. He's not wearing his regular underwear. There's absolutely no reason why he can't wear his regular underwear underneath that. I guess they just did it for the butt shot.
Yeah, they needed a butt cheek.
Yep.
It's the Undertaker.
Tim puts it appropriately. His underwear might be 1950s issue.
Actually, I don't think it's just your headcanon, Jesse. I think that's the explicit intent. Ah, okay, you're right. You're right, Jesse.
People are still betting back then.
Oh yeah, that's always been that way.
2-1 on.
Yeah, they actually made it through 2 movies, not mentioning that. John Brown came up with the repeating element of the Winchester rifle. Very good.
Great to see you, Age Boomer.
Hey, Boomer.
Hey, Boomer.
Yeah, Boomer. Yeah. Yeah, they swapped Mark.
Yeah,
Scott Doc said
this is heavy. Yeah. The obvious implication is how close they are and how much of an influence they've had on each other. So now instead of rubber tires, he's got train wheels on it.
He's got training wheels.
Training wheels, yeah, exactly. But see, the thing is, he's still not thinking it through. She's not supposed to be there. Taking her out of time would not be a greater hindrance. In fact, it might fix things. Yeah, I'll tell you, if these movies are to believe, the DeLorean has got to be the most customizable car in history.
Right?
Mr. DeLorean was once quoted as saying, "Shit, this is a trip to be here."
Yeah.
Extra points for anyone who gets that reference.
You know, Tim, you make a great point, especially after the little soliloquy he just gave about, history's not, or future's not set, any man can change his future, blah, 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 and this and that. Yes, Jesse, they did make a cartoon series of Back to the Future. It deals with Dr. Brown and his family traveling around in the version of the DeLorean the version of the time machine you see at the end of the movie.
I wonder how many times Christopher Lloyd had to get slapped by Barry Steve's version.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, speaking of DeLoreans, I was talking with Michael French about working on his DeLorean, and he's done all the work himself, so he knows the whole background of what went into the DeLorean and how piecemeal it is, and why it's just such a nightmare. Okay, I ain't your papa. Ha! It's a woman, right?
Doc, meet Doc.
Whereabouts do you live, Tim? Kind of curious where the DeLorean would be popular. I mean, to a degree, they did improve the car because it's all done by. I'm serious about it being custom work. There were so many things wrong with the design of the car that a lot of people that have DeLoreans now are swapping out a whole lot of elements of it.
Well, the DeLorean was only chosen because it looked cool.
Because it looked cool, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it had the doors that opened up.
Yeah, those gull wings made for that whole bit where it looks like a flying saucer.
And only because people own DeLoreans nowadays, because this franchise.
You should have tied up your horse.
Well, it's not like the horse is going to go very far. He just likes to hold it. Emmett, no!
I do.
Wow!
That's why we love Christopher Lloyd.
Just the one? And that damn clock!
Well, at least he knows he's got 15 minutes before he's got to do something.
Samuel, when that happens, it really is a benefit to refresh the screen.
Oh yeah.
Let's make some wake up juice. Oh,
Let's
God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh. I know about half of what's in that.
Worcestershire sauce.
There was a Tabasco in there. That was just a reflex action.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, Jesse. There's a reason that gull wing doors aren't used. It's also a reason why murder doors aren't used anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of does. Does that mean that Seamus is kind of putting two and two together here, or?
Well, you get the impression they're not overt about it, but they definitely give the impression, being Irish in the 1800s, he's probably a very spiritual man, right? So he's definitely open to, let's just say, nonlinear thinking.
Here lies Clint Eastwood. Ah, Snapple. All right.
What does that mean? That's very good that he knew that, and he could. Did he call him a yellow turd?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of right roundabout to being a coward with yellow. You know,
Yeah.
fellow's yellow, he's a coward.
But if you ever see a yellow turd, that means whatever dropped it was sick.
Oh well, we can't have that.
He lost count.
Fine. 11/16.
Very good use of framing and aspect ratio. Yeah, it's in the back. I love that. You never hear that in a movie. He's right. When was acetaminophen invented? Yep. It wasn't synthesized until 1878, and wasn't used to treat pain and fever until 1893.
Mhm.
And I prefer it to be you. A lot of elements of time, whether it's the train schedule.
We don't know anybody like that around here, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if commuter trains actually had that.
I like Tim. No, he was Chinese.
We don't know any Emmett. There'll be none of this Emmett business.
Now, of course, the setup for this we saw in the second movie, because in the altered present, Biff was watching the Western with Clint Eastwood and the metal plate under his poncho.
He's like, he's really going to go through with it.
He can't. His name is not Steve.
Now, interestingly, in any Western town, in reality, that would be considered murder.
Yep.
You just shot an unarmed man.
But this is going to be
Well, I
fun.
guess it's not murder if you don't die.
And of course, obviously, Mad Dog doesn't die because otherwise, no Biff. Hey,
Go on, punch him. Bam!
They literally did just settle it like men.
yeah.
Ow.
And he breaks a tombstone. Now nobody's name ends up on that tombstone.
Ew.
Right into the manure, exactly.
I want to know who taught Marty how to fight, though, because you know it wasn't his dad.
True. Well, in the alternate timeline, it could have been. I think Buford's going to jail.
Well, yeah, he did kill the marshal off screen, but yeah.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's an interesting element that I did not know until you told me about that today.
Hey,
Yeah, you're right, Samuel. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That was clearly intended to be a reference back to that.
Mhm.
I would have told him, keep it in your family. It'll be worth a lot of money in 100 years. Man, that is a great color dress.
A little better the Predator music there, you know.
I love the fact that those, what do you call it, on the back of the DeLorean are represented by shell casings.
Mm.
Mhm.
And the horse is like, damn it, I'm doing the best I can. You know, everybody, understands how much skill it takes to be a stunt guy doing these kinds of stunts.
Yeah.
The horses need credit too, because that ain't easy for them. Keeping steady next to a moving vehicle like that, and they've got to overcome their natural fear of the vehicle. Ouch.
Those are the stuntmen.
Right. I mean, I suppose, in a sense, this is a train robbery. They're getting every Western trope they can into this movie.
Yes, they are.
It's a science experiment.
I love that line. I love that.
You know, it's too bad Christopher Lloyd never got to do more westerns. The only other one I can remember was that
Million and One Ways to Die in the West.
movie from the well, that and the Lone Ranger movie from the '80s, in which probably the less said the better.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right, they do have to take the fuel car, the one packed with wood, because
Yeah, because that's the engine.
right. Always wanted to do that.
Yeah. Who hasn't?
Right?
Yeah, who hasn't? Yeah.
DeLorean Motor Company. Tim's suggesting you do that Lone Ranger film on a upcoming Sunday just for spits and giggles.
Um,
Yeah.
oh, if we do it, Bill, we do it under the provision that I get to riff the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it as a double feature with the Johnny Depp
Look.
remake.
Here's the thing. He's putting tires in the front as a cushion.
Yeah.
When that train goes over and gets destroyed, those tires will still be there unless they burn up.
Oh,
So it
I'm
means
yeah, they
there's
would
something
burn
from
up.
the future that should not be there.
True.
Samuel says, my high school's mascot was the Marshalls, a cowboy-looking guy. So in my graduation ceremony of 2020, we all wore cowboy bandanas as masks during it, and that made me tolerate it for that one day. Nice.
Is that high school in Texas?
Okay, how
Because
is
that seems appropriate.
how is Doc supposed to get into the DeLorean? I forget. I haven't seen this movie in a while.
I know that they end up using the
hoverboard.
The hoverboard, yeah.
But it's in the back of the DeLorean. I saw it.
Hands it back, slides it back.
Pootie in the Cosme chat says Mary Steenburgen's first credit was Gone South. Christopher Lloyd is also in it.
Wow, interesting.
I remember that movie very, very vaguely. I was quite young. I think it's like a late 70s, early 80s movie. I know Nicholson's in it. I don't remember a whole lot about it. It is a Western now. Oh, the boiler explodes. Now you tell me.
My favorite Christopher Lloyd role, of course, is the Commander Krug in Star Trek 3. And he does have a very Doc Brown moment in that when he hears that the Enterprise self-destruct is counting down. He gets that Dr. Brown, oh, look. I love the fact that they show a green smoke coming out, which indicates, the copper filings.
Yeah.
Then a sulfur for the second one. I can't remember what the third one is. I'm guessing magnesium. Yes, that's it, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah.
Blow the horn.
And he even has the temperature gauge marked with the various colors of the smoke he's using.
He's like, how is that
He
happening?
said, oh, so fucking horn.
Oh, that's great! Your timing sucks! You better or you're dead. Oh, Utah Rangers. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Netter's got a pair of boots like that.
Yeah.
I got them for her. Just let it go. Yeah, I don't think he's even hearing the squawk box anymore. Yeah, she's doing fine until the next one kicks in. Oh, God. I mean, this really does amp up the tension.
Just don't miss it.
Oh, shit!
Her hair should have gotten caught in those wheels.
Yeah.
That was a 1 in a million shot.
Yes, it was. Again, I'm going with the predestination paradox. A lot of seemingly impossible and improbable things happen because of this.
Why do you put it on your hat?
Because
So he doesn't have to hold it?
It was on the seat next to him.
this is cooler, though.
It just looks cool, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of flame going on there. Those tires are going to burn just fine.
Boom.
Wow!
No CGI, practical effects. Was shot in a minute with a miniature.
Oh, right. You got the magnesium and the copper in there and the sulfur. That's going to burn good.
Eastwood Ravine now.
Ravine. Nice.
I never actually caught that before, that Eastwood Ravine thing.
They're all looking like it's a car.
I still wish they'd stuck with the Shawmash thing. It would have been a nice little nod to history.
Get off the track.
Yeah. No, they got to kill the car. Destroy
Yep.
the machine, remember?
I mean,
Oh
that
boy, did they
that
ever
really...
destroy it.
It's like they took every bolt out of it before it hit.
One other thing is,
It
that car
just
was made of stainless
explodes
steel.
into
Yeah.
It wouldn't have
pieces.
fallen apart that easy.
I know.
It's like, well,
She was a good ship.
machines.
Yeah.
Tim. How did they look?
Why don't they look?
Yeah, even the flux capacitor is fluxed.
It's a kaput.
Yeah.
I think I'd take that bit as like a souvenir from my, you know.
Lion Estates. This is the whole thing that Doc Brown predicted in the second movie, that history would change around him.
And now Biff is all like hunched over where he never was before.
Yeah. Well, it's the timidity.
And yeah. And of course not Crispin Glover.
Yep.
Jennifer's still okay sleeping
Right.
on the patio.
She's been asleep a long time.
This is all that Elizabeth Shue shows up in this movie, for Ev's sake. Well, the two movies were filmed together, so...
Yeah.
It's like, now you gotta lay here for a couple of days until he comes back.
No, from her perspective, it was literally overnight.
Yeah. Because that's all it's been in their timeline.
It's like, I'm sorry, but she looks old there.
Well,
It's partly the hair.
this did come out in 90.
Well, I mean, the hairstyle does, it makes her look like she's 40.
Right, because 40-year-old women are wearing the hairstyles they wore back in the 80s. Well, now
Yeah.
60-year-old
And
women,
I'm not
but you know what I
minding.
mean. Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Pepper fans, get ready for Flea as Needles.
Right. And her whole storyline here, you need to have seen the previous movie.
Well, yes, but no.
And this is the accident that Doc
Yep.
was talking about.
They had to bring in the Huey Lewis in the News, too.
You chicken.
Cheap, 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 cheap. Sorry. Oh, hi, Marty. What a race, you know. And made a shit ton of money. No,
Yeah.
maybe. No.
Huh. I'll tell you that, Mr. Fusion, grab that thing. That's going to be worthwhile. Oh, hi, Mark.
And there's no police or anything out here going, what the heck was this investigating?
Right.
Nothing, which is like
Yeah.
unrealistic.
Well, unrealistic then now. Because in my town, the cops would have just said, "What was that noise?"
Right.
Hello, LDG. No one reported the accident.
Well, you
yet.
got to figure the people in the train were like, "Hey, did you feel something? Did you hear something?"
The train conductor would have seen him hit the car.
I love the fact that they were both blown back. Emmett L. Brown.
I just want to know one thing. Why did he build another time machine?
It runs on steam.
Guess he needed it for the...
Jules and Vern.
Of course.
And Einstein. Ha! The picture. But since they're shouting, it sounds like, the train is loud.
Yeah. And you notice that the opening door is
Yeah.
inspired by the DeLorean. And I love the stained glass windows on the train too.
Hover train.
Where roads, tracks, where we're going, we don't need tracks.
Right. And the whole steampunk thing, it makes me think of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah. Woohoo!
The end. Period. Never gonna
Yes.
be another movie.
No.
No remakes, no sequels, no reimaginings. Seriously, if they did it, no one would go see it. It's Einstein, Tim.
All right. Shall I consult the scrolls?
You shall.
All right. This is a little thing we do on the show where I go do IMDb, where I consult the scrolls, aka IMDb Pro, for a bit of information on the backstory of the film. All right. Back to the Future 3 was released May 25th, 1990, with an approximate budget of $40 million and went on to gross $245 million worldwide. All right. Filming locations.
That's why we were watching a
Included.
movie sometime within the last 2 weeks, and in the credits there was somebody Pacelli. It's like,
Yeah.
a relative?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Filming locations. Cagle Canyon Street, Sandusky Avenue, Arleta, California, which is the entrance to Lion Estates, at least as of 1985. Universal Studios, of course. 161 North Magnolia Avenue, Monrovia, California, which is Jennifer's house. 3793 Oakhurst Street, Almonte, California, which is Marty's house in Hilldale, as in the 2015 scenes. 9303 Roslindale Avenue, Arleta, Los Angeles, which is the McFly house. China Flat, Oak Park, Ventura County, which is the mine and the cemetery scenes. Courthouse Square, Backlot, Universal Studios. Doris Avenue and North Oxford Drive, Oxnard, California, which is where the Rolls-Royce incident takes place. The Gamble House, 4 Westmoreland Place, Pasadena, which is Doc's house. Jamestown, California, which is 1885 Hill Valley. Monument Valley, Arizona, of course, where the Indian Charge takes place. Monument Valley in Utah, with the drive-in theater, as we mentioned earlier. Red Hills Ranch, Sonora, California, which is the 1885 Hill Valley Town Train Station and Railroad. The Sierra Railroad, Jamestown, California. South Pasadena, California. South Ventura Road and Shoreview Drive, Port Winnemay, I guess, California, which is where the train and DeLorean crash takes place.
Makes sense.
Stage 12, Universal Studios, which is the interior of Doc's house, which was demolished in 2020. So Stage 12 is no more.
Yeah, they used to
All
have
right.
run tours out of there.
All right. On to the trivia. There are 197 items. So obviously, we're not doing them all in the show. But we will read a few off. All right. A horse dealership in 1885 is owned by the Statlers. In Back to the Future, there is an ad on the radio for Statler Toyota in 1985. In 1955, Statler Motors Studebaker is visible near the town theater.
Yep.
The name on the manure wagon in 1885 reads A. Jones. In Back to the Future, the name on the manure truck from 1955 read D. Jones.
Nice.
Filmed at the same time as Back to the Future Part 2, and the 4 years since Back to the Future was made, Michael J. Fox had forgotten some of his skateboarding techniques. The editor of Hill Valley's newspaper in 1885 is M.R. Gale, a tribute to trilogy screenwriter Bob Gale.
Wow.
In Back to the Future Part 2, Biff watches a fistful of dollars in the alternative in 1985, in which Clint Eastwood's character uses steel plating underneath his poncho. Marty, calling himself Clint Eastwood, uses the hatch from a stove under his poncho in 1885. The sign at the train crossing in 1985 identifies the location formerly Clayton Ravine as Eastwood Ravine, named for Marty's character.
Yep.
Okay.
And
This is a long one. Go ahead.
I imagine that there's got to be a conversation somebody has looking at it going, oh, Eastwood Ravine, I wonder if that's any connection to Clint Eastwood, the actor. Nope, just coincidence.
All right. Throughout the trilogy, the DeLorean and its duplicates created via time travel make 15 trips through time, 13 on screen. They are 1. Doc's dog, Einstein, is sent 1 minute into the future to test the machine.
True.
2. Marty travels to 1955 from 1985. 3. Marty returns to 1985 from 1955. 4. Doc travels to 2015 from 1985. 5. Not seen on screen. Doc travels to some point beyond 2015 to learn that Marty's family has unraveled. 6. Also not on screen. Doc travels to 2015 from the future to find the beginning of the unraveling of Marty's family. 7. Doc returns to 1985 from 2015. 8. Doc takes Marty and Jennifer forward to 2015 from 1985. 9. Biff travels from 2015 to 1955 to give himself the sports almanac, thus creating an alternate timeline. 10. Biff returns to 2015 from 1955. 11. Doc and Marty and Jennifer return to the alternate 1985 from 2015. 12. Marty and Doc travel back to 1955 from the alternate 1985 to get the sports almanac from Biff. 13. Doc accidentally travels from 1955 to 1885 when the DeLorean is hit by lightning. 14. Marty travels from 1955 to 1885 to rescue Doc. 15. Marty returns to 1985 from 1885. A 14th on-screen time travel voyage is made by Doc and his family in the time train from the future to 1985 to introduce Marty and Jennifer to Jules and Vern, and to give Marty an undamaged photo of him and Doc Brown in front of the clock. Additional off-screen time traveling has occurred as stated by Doc Brown, presumably in both the DeLorean and the time train, but these are the 16 confirmed travel. 17. Franco goes in where the others have been. 18, 0 hour. Gilpin's got a date. Oh shit. That's 30 dozen. I'm sorry. My bad. Forget those last 3.
Oops.
Okay. Whoops. Jefferson. Okay. The train station is near the site of the station built for Pale Rider, a Clint Eastwood movie. The two halves of the Pale Rider station became new buildings in Hill Valley. One can be seen at the north end of town by the corrals and tracks, the other at the south end by the water wheel. Director trademark. Robert Zemeckis, of course. When Marty walks along the railroad tracks and finally reaches the town, he comes to the railway station. Then he walks into the room while the camera slowly rises up above the station and finally shows Marty at a long distance walking into town. This scene is shot exactly the same way as the scene in Once Upon a Time in the West when Jill arrives at the station.
Yep.
Cameo, ZZ Top.
Yep.
One of the film's composing bands has a cameo as the band in 1885 playing a variation of Double Back.
Yep.
And hello to Gary Ambrosia. Good to see you, sir.
Hello.
All right. When Doc and Marty are at the drive-in preparing the DeLorean for the trip to 1885, Marty mentions Clint Eastwood and Doc replies, "Clint who?" In this shot, there is a movie poster on the drive-in's wall showcasing Revenge of the Creature and Tarantula, containing some of the first film appearances of a young, then unknown Eastwood. Marty even looks to and briefly points to that poster as he says to Doc, "Oh, that's right. You haven't heard of him yet." Did we discuss the deleted scene when Griff shoots Marshall Strickland in the back? Yes, we did.
We glossed over it, yes.
Yeah, we got to that. And by the way, in case you didn't recognize him, the fella playing the deputy marshal is Donovan Scott, who was Olive Oil's brother in Popeye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't recognize him until I looked him up on IMDb Pro. I go, oh, snap, that was him. Yeah, nice.
But Gary's question makes me realize something. I have, I talk about owning physical media. All of these movies that we watch, I own on DVD or I pick them up immediately after. because if it's worth watching, it's worth owning. But I am, because there's so many movies that I have, and it takes me so long just to get through them. My gosh, I haven't watched all the special special features that all of them have. So all the deleted scenes and all this kind of stuff. So for all these years that I've had Back to the Future on DVD, I've never watched the deleted scenes. So I kind of need to get caught up on some of this stuff.
Yeah, and it means so much more now because physical media is out. So it's like I was in my local Walmart the other day, and they had like one little teeny smidge section of physical media left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really sad.
Well,
yeah,
but that...
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, don't take that as a sign of the future of physical media. I think that physical media is still doing great. It's just that everybody's getting it like on Amazon and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I admit I do too. I literally will go, Big Al will say, I've got such and such movie planned in 2 weeks. And I'll look and I'll go, damn, we don't have that one. And I will literally go to Amazon, order it, and have it in 2 days.
Yeah.
If it's one we want to own. If it's not one we want to own.
Usually it is, though.
Yeah, but if it's not one we want to own, we don't do that. He just finds it somewhere.
Well, that's true. Mm-hmm. That is true. But by and large, I generally, if I feel it's worth watching, it's probably worth owning. Think about it. It used to be a $10 prospect to go to the movies, right? It's gotten to be a lot more than that, but it used to be about $10. And nowadays, for $10, you can own the movie forever.
Gary Ambrosia says, this movie is really good. I enjoy watching this one over the other two.
Yeah, it does feel... I mean, it's directly... intimately tied to the second one. They were filmed together, after all. Mm-hmm. And I did point out a couple of story elements that you need to have watched the second movie to really understand what's going on in the third movie. Not big points, but some of the denouement type episode elements. But it is kind of separated from the other two. The other two are all present, 1955, and the future. Whereas this one takes place almost exclusively in the Old West, which was why we split it up. I did Monday Night at the Movies and did the first two on Monday. And then today, Western Cinema presents the third part. I think it worked out perfectly. Yeah. And Jedi Bill, great suggestion. I'm really glad that we did this. This was an awesome team up. There aren't many things like this. Where
I've enjoyed... This has been a blast.
Yeah.
This film, this trilogy, is a classic, and it will never ever get remade, rebooted, ever. No, it needs to stay the way it is.
I am glad that we brought up Somewhere in Time, because I had forgotten Steenburgen was in it, and it also includes these kinds of time travel elements. I think I might do... no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Time and Time Again, aren't I?
Time After Time.
Time After Time, yeah. You know what? That might be a double feature on Monday Night at the Movies in the very near future, too. Somewhere in Time and Time After Time, yeah.
Right on. CK and hello, CK. Says BTTF is... my favorite live-action franchise.
Yeah.
Hated 3 as a kid, loved it as an adult. I got to tell you, watching these movies again, I do have more of an appreciation for 2 and 3 than I had previous. I think 3, I think there's a couple of bits in 3 that still kind of throw me as far as the timeline is concerned, but for sure, the second one, which is the one I always had kind of the biggest problem with, rewatching it again Monday night, it does track.
Yeah,
I was a little confused when I saw it the first time around, but
the time travel elements I always had a problem with is just because I don't think in my head canon, time shouldn't work that way. But what you have to give to this trilogy is what I always say about time travel stories. Since time travel isn't a real thing so far, the storyteller has to set the rules for time travel. You can make them up. You try to base them in logic and real-world physics, but where you can't, you make it up. But you must always be consistent. Well, I feel like Zemeckis is very consistent. He has laid out his time travel rules, and he sticks to them all the time. And even the ones that I'm like, oh, like the slowly disappearing, from the picture and stuff, I'm like, I don't believe time would work that way. That's okay. It does in Zemeckis' world, and he's always consistent about it, and his rules always stand up. You got to give credit for the fact that the first movie was written to be standalone. There was never an intent to do a sequel. And then when they were, okay, we're definitely going to turn this into a trilogy. Well, okay, if we're going to do it, then we're going to film 2 and 3 together as one production, get it all done. And we're going to have to think through the story, right? What hook did we leave at the end of the first movie? And it's kind of like weaving in an extension on a rug, where you want to make it as seamless as possible. And they did it. They had to fudge a couple things at the end. Because I said, one possible hiccup is, why does Doc Brown care about Marty's kids when he could just as easily have addressed Marty's whole accident being called chicken thing, right? That seems inconsistent. But they kind of glossed over it, they kind of fudged it and made it work, and then tied it into the ending for 3. That brings complete resolution to Marty's future and his future history, I should say.
Speaking of which, we still have a little bit of trivia here. Going to go through a few more of these. Before sending Marty back to 1885, Doc mentions that he uses to drive in theaters so Marty doesn't run into a tree that existed in the past. And Back to the Future, one of the first things Marty does in 1955 is run into Park Peabody's pine tree that existed in the past.
Yep.
Clara can be seen behind Marty and Doc while looking at the map at the train station. One of the DeLoreans used in the filming of this movie was on display at the Planet Hollywood restaurant in Honolulu, Hawaii, until the restaurant's closure in 2010. It was then suspended. It was suspended from the ceiling and hung upside down to give the restaurant patrons a better view of the vehicle from above.
Wild.
This film marks the only time in the trilogy when Doc Brown exchanges dialogue with a member of the Tannen family. He had previously interacted with Biff in the alternate 1985 and Back to the Future Part 2 by knocking him down on the roof of Biff's Pleasure Palace with the going of the DeLorean door.
Yep.
This is the only film in the trilogy where Marty and Doc Brown exchange catchphrases. Marty says, "Great Scott," and Doc Brown replies, "Yeah, this is heavy."
Like I pointed out,
film photo. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that it really does, and coming late in the third movie, it really does show how much interaction these two characters have had and the influence they've had on each other. It gives a great deal of payoff to the implied relationship that you see going into the first movie.
All right. The scene where Marty and Jennifer kiss on the porch was the only scene shot while Back to the Future 2 was being made.
Makes sense.
Yep. The role of Clara Clayton was written specifically for Mary Steenburgen.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The clock in the clock towers started running at 8 p.m. on September 5th, 1885. The date is provided by the caption on the photograph Doc gives Marty at the end of the movie. The lightning strikes the clock tower at 10:04 p.m., November 12th, 1955. This means that the clock tower operated for exactly 70 years, 2 months, 7 days, 2 hours, and 4 minutes. Okay. This one is a bit complicated and a little long, but stay with me.
Okay.
All right. Because some people who put in these little trivia items in IMDb Pro are people who are really sharp-eyed,
Yeah.
and get really detailed sometimes. And this is going to be one of those cases. So here we go. I hope you are not planning to do anything for the next few hours. I'm kidding. Page 112 of the item. No. Chapter 147. All right. There exists enough clues in all three movies to reconstruct the travels of the DeLorean precisely to within a few minutes at worst, except 2015 Biff's arrival in 1955 and Doc's personal travels. There are a few interesting things to note. Not counting the time Doc traveled by himself, the DeLorean spent nearly 71 years on its own time scale from its first time travel to its destruction. By the time Marty made his ultimate return to 1985, he was approximately 14 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes older than he should have been. Jennifer, on the other hand, is 7 hours and 26 minutes younger than she should have been. Another interesting conclusion is a point of contention. There are two theories, one which drops the last item. On November 12, 1955, between the time Biff arrived, or 6 a.m., whichever came later, and 6:38 p.m., the time he left, there are 4 DeLoreans present in Hill Valley, ordered from its point of view. 1, the instance when Marty was trapped in 1955 in the first movie. 2, the instance when Biff came to 1955 to give himself the almanac. 3, the instance when Marty and Doc came back to 1955 to take the almanac back. 4, the instance when it was waiting in the abandoned mine. Those who do not agree with 4 argue that according to the ripple effect timeline, as presented in the films, there wouldn't be a DeLorean hidden by Doc in the mine until later that evening, when the lightning blast would accidentally send Doc back to 1885, thereby altering the timeline. It is, end quote, entirely true that we do not ever witness a moment in the films where all 4 instances would coexist. But the text, ordered from its point of view above, should hint at a solution. Once the DeLorean is in 1885, consider what it would detect if it were in a position to witness the comings and goings of its former selves. Over 70 years of peace, then 1 arrives, then 2 and 3 arrive in the same order. 2 then leaves at 6:38 p.m., 3 leaves around 10 p.m., and 1 leaves at 10:04 p.m. 4 itself leaves soon after that. If we grant that all 3 of those instances, 1 through 3, continue to exist in the final timeline, then there should be no problem accepting this theory. Still not convinced? Consider the 100-year gap near the end of this movie when Marty takes the DeLorean on its final journey. 70 years into it, for a few hours, there are 4 instances of the car. Right about this time, Agent Cooper is entering the Black Lodge.
Yeah, exactly. I will simplify that slightly. If you make the argument of dropping the 4th one, then 1, 2, and 3 exist at the same time. 4 isn't there yet, right? But if you look at it from the point of view of number 4, it eventually hits a point where it exists and witnesses, not directly but indirectly, the other 3. So there's a what if you consider time travel to be like Schrodinger's cat, and there's a probability element, then at any given version of that time period, there is a 1 in 4 chance that all 4 DeLoreans exist. There you go. Now, if that hasn't scrambled your noodle, I don't know what does.
All right.
But this is the kind of thing I mean. This kind of consistency is required for such an awesome story. You can't have trivia like this. You can't have discussions like this if the story wasn't, spot on to begin with.
Yeah, we could have a whole entire nut stream on just the trilogy and this film.
All right. When filming, we brought this up during the show. When filming the scene where Mad Dog tries to lynch Marty, Michael J. Fox was accidentally hanged, rendering him unconscious for a short time. He records this in his autobiography, Lucky Man, in 2002. The first movie to use Universal's new 75th anniversary opening studio logo. The logo ran until 1997. The town was in Chinese Camp, California, and was, in a nearly fitting way, destroyed by lightning in 1996. Clint Eastwood was asked for permission about his name being used for Marty in the film. He consented and said he was tickled by the homage.
Well, this film was endorsed by trilogy was endorsed by
Clint Eastwood. Yep. Yes, getting to Reagan. Actor and former President Ronald Reagan was originally approached to play the part of Mayor Hubert because of his fondness for the first film in the trilogy. He reluctantly turned down the role and the part went to Hugh Gillen instead. Had Reagan appeared, it would have marked his first appearance in a film in nearly 30 years. Each of Needle's henchmen comes from one of the other gangs in the trilogy. J.J. Cohen played Skinhead in Biff's gang in Back to the Future and Back to the Future Part 2. Ricky Dean Logan played Data in Griff's gang in Back to the Future 2. And Christopher Wynn played an unnamed member of Buford's gang in this film. Cohen appears in all 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only henchman who's in all 3.
Yep.
A bottle of Tabasco sauce is visible in the saloon during the wake-up juice scene. It has a design consistent with the time period. Okay. All right, in the first movie, Doc tells Marty he was inspired to create the flux capacitor after hitting his head on the bathroom sink while trying to hang a clock over his toilet. Hence his obsession with time. In this movie, when Doc freaks out after seeing Marty in his house, he runs into the bathroom. You can just see the clock hanging above the toilet on which he slept.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Marty uses a Frisbee's pie plate to knock a gun out of Mad Dog's hand in 1871. The Frisbee Pie Company started in Connecticut. Their pie pans were thrown on the campus of Yale, and this eventually led to the invention of Frisbees. Frisbee 1B now being a very popular college course. Up there with the lesbian dance theory and the...
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
None of which will get you a job in the real world except maybe Washington, D.C. Okay. Moving on. All right. For approximately 3 weeks, Robert Zemeckis would fly to Los Angeles after his day's filming of the train climax of this movie to approve the sound dub that Bob Gale had been supervising of Back to the Future Part 2. He would then get up at 4:30 a.m. the next day to fly back to the Northern California set to continue with this filming for that day. Now, he could have used a time machine. Mm-hmm. In the course of the year that it took to film Back to the Future Part 2 and this movie, Michael J. Fox lost his father and gained a son. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis figured that for this movie, they had already done all they could do with Marty's family, so the focus of the film was shifted to Doc Brown. Mary Steenburgen's children persuaded her to be in the film.
Good thing.
The death of Michael J. Fox's father delayed filming for 2 weeks. According to the book Billy Gibbons' Rock and Roll Gearhead, ZZ Top was hanging around the set and was asked to be the town band. During one take, the camera broke. While waiting for the camera to be repaired, Michael J. Fox asked if they would play Hey Good Lookin', which they did. Afterwards, more requests were played. 2 hours later, someone inquired if the camera had been repaired. Robert Zemeckis replied that it had been fixed for quite a while. He just didn't want to stop the party that had evolved.
No, we got ZZ Top giving us
ZZ Top here. Forget the camera. All right. Doc Brown states his German ancestor's surname was von Braun. This is a reference to Werner von Braun, one of Germany's leading rocket scientists, who was taken to America following World War II and assisted greatly in the NASA program. Hence, our Yahtzees beat the Russians' Yahtzees to the moon. Funny how that worked. All right. Steam locomotive used in this movie is Sierra Number 3, painted and rigged to look like the Locomotive 131. This is the type of locomotive that was actually built in 1891. So, whoopsie. Okay. Moving on. Well, it had to do something. All right. In 1996, Lego released their line of time travel themed sets. As part of the promo for both the Time Cruisers and the Wild West sets being released, the comics section of the Lego magazine did a 2-part piece sending a character into the Wild West. The 3 old-timers in the saloon were played by Dub Taylor, Pat Buttram, and Harry Carey Jr., who played sidekicks, town drunks, and colorful town folks in hundreds of westerns and television shows.
I'm convinced that Mr. Haney always sounded like that.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
I thought it was something he put on just for Green Acres, but I guess not.
Nope. I'll read a few more of these and then move on. It's like I said, I'm not going to get to all of them. They would be a whole other show. The character of Clara Clayton is in reference to Clara Clemens, Samuel Clemens, a.k.a. Mark Twain's daughter. Clara Clemens went on a sleigh ride with her future husband. Oh, yeah, right, as I will refer to him. Osip Gabrielowicz. Okay, well, that's you. We'll call you Ozzy. The horse took fright from a windswept newspaper and bolted, while Ozzy lost control. At the top of the hill, next to a 50-foot drop, ouch, the sleigh overturned, throwing Clemens out. Ozzy leapt to the ground and caught the horse by the head, stopping it as it was about to plunge over the bank, dragging Clemens with her dress caught in a runner.
Oh, wow.
Yike. All right.
That's a big
Tom
mess.
Wilson, our boy Biff, Mad Dog here, performed all of his own horse riding stunts. He also did the trick where he lassos Marty just before he meets Doc in 1885.
That's cool.
I think a lot of people don't realize he's actually very talented and very nice guy, despite the role that he plays.
And a good stand-up comedian.
That I didn't know. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was a stand-up, yeah. I first heard of him when they did the Wing Commander video game back in the day. He's in the cutscenes for that. Yeah. Which I always thought was kind of odd that he wasn't in the movie. All right. Yes, folks, Wing Commander had a movie.
Yeah.
I didn't
We
say
don't
it was
like to
good.
talk
I'm
about
just saying
that.
you're not talking about
No.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. I don't blame you. Moving on. Um, the photographer at the festival is the film's director of photography, Dean Cundy.
How convenient.
That is cool. Continuing
Oh, cool.
Chronicles.
Yeah. All right. I said that already. All right. Love the game.
WD says, love the game, the movie sucked. Yes. That one,
Yeah.
I believe all of us here can agree.
Yeah. The train that crashes into the bottom of the ravine was actually a miniature. Yep, you brought that up. When filming the sequence with the train and DeLorean for safety's sake, the builders rigged it so the DeLorean could flip off at any given time. Early in 2008, several directors, including Steven Spielberg, voted on an attraction room for Universal Hollywood that would contain rare and old costumes and props. Two of the items pulled out from storage vaults were the miniatures of Doc's time travel train and a railroad version of the DeLorean. Full-sized version of the time train can be seen at Universal Studios in Orlando, which I believe somebody in our chat brought up. So thank you for that. All right. A prop and building set preservation committee submitted a request and got it granted for the Pontiac Drive-In Theater to be rebuilt for display.
Wow.
Still exists, folks.
Interesting.
Franchise trademark. In every film, Marty is knocked out. He always wakes up and says, "Mom?" Lydia Thompson is always present. She tells him to be still now and tells him for exactly how long he's been out cold.
I mean, the first time it was 9 hours. Second time,
Yep.
I think she said 6 hours. I don't know how much for the last one, so I didn't hear
I
it.
think she says 3 or something like that here. Yeah.
So each time he's unconscious for less and less time.
Yeah, he's getting good at it.
When Marty in the Hilldale neighborhood decides to race Needles, as Needles' truck swerves away from the Rolls Royce, you can see a street sign that reads Clark. Clark in Hilldale was a very popular spot for Bay Area rock bands in the 60s, and is even mentioned in the title of a song on Love's Forever Changes album in 1967. Franchise trademark. The song "The Power of Love" is played during the second scene of the trilogy in the second last scene of the trilogy. Franchise trademark. In each film of the trilogy, Tom Wilson ends up covered in manure. Poor man.
I hate manure.
All right. I'll read this last couple of bits off, and then we'll call it. Pat Buttram. This was Pat Buttram's last on-screen role as a patron in the saloon. Of all the roles he performed afterwards were voiceover roles. In every film of the trilogy, there is a scene where Marty is knocked unconscious, woken by someone resembling his mother, as he thinks his past experiences have been a dream. There is always a scene with Marty entering a public drinking place where Biff or one of his relatives enters, calling out, "Hey, McFly!"
Yeah.
There's
I
always
told
a
you
scene.
never to come back in here.
Yep. There's always a scene with Marty being chased by someone resembling Biff or Biff himself and his gang. In part 1, he was on a skateboard. Part 2, on a hoverboard. The time
what
machine.
I liked in this last one
Right.
is that Mad Dog did not look like Biff. He looked completely different.
He did. He kind of really did.
It's like he did not look like Biff. Yeah, it's like I like that because it's like you're not going to look like all of your ancestors. I'm sure I don't look like my grandmother or my great grandmother or whatever.
Moving on. The time machine always becomes unusable at some point.
Yep.
That's just narrative necessity.
Yep. Characters related to Biff have been covered in manure in every film and are always beaten up by Marty. And lastly, history has always changed somehow for the better in part 1 and 3, or for the worst in part 2.
Yep.
All right. In the Back to the Future trilogy, the present date is October 26, 1985. 2015 is the future. 1885 and 1955 are the past. Exactly 25 years later, on October 26, 2010, the trilogy was released on Blu-ray in a 25th anniversary edition. All right. You can find the rest on IMDb Pro, but some of us have other shows to do tonight, so we are going to close out the scrolls right there.
I'll tell you, there are still a couple of elements open at the end of 3 that I'm not saying it deserves a sequel for this, but it certainly gives you something to think about. Okay, so we've seen Biff's history changed throughout history, right? And in the I guess this one is actually answered too. We see that Mad Dog Tanner is apparently arrested. Well, they don't show it happen, but it's implied he's going to be arrested at the end of their time in 1885, right?
Right.
What impact does that have on his descendants? Well, since we see Biff in the current 1985 still waxing the truck, we assume not much.
Because he still got the snot.
Everything is still, pretty much
and
the same in his family.
That's why I think the scene with Mad Dog killing the Marshall version of Strickland was cut. Number one, it's not really. I mean, I guess it's consistent with Mad Dog.
Yeah.
But Mad Dog as Biff, and it's consistent with Biff's a bull, but he's not a killer.
Yeah.
And plus, he would be arrested for the death of the sheriff because the son of the marshal witnessed the shooting. So that would screw the timeline, because unless Mad Dog had a kid out of his own out there somewhere that we didn't see or didn't get referenced that way.
Well, you also have to think through what was the timeline before Doc Brown went back in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. So does that murder happen or not? And if not, when does he have a kid, and with whom? And furthermore, does his being arrested make a difference to that kid? Do we know if he even has a kid as of 1885? He may already. Who knows? So there's a lot of unknowns, enough to be able to say, it probably all pans out. Yeah.
And are we to believe that Mad Dog Tannen actually, married someone?
I doubt it. I get the impression that he wasn't the marrying kind, but he was certainly...
How did the descendants all end up with a Tannen name? You're going to tell me that, he got me pregnant, so I'm just going to say my kids are Tannens. You know?
I don't know. Maybe it's like Damian Wayne kind of a situation.
You had to procreate somehow and continue the family line to have that lineage continue.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd like to go ahead and thank everyone who joined us here today, especially those of you on Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there.
Yeah.
It's your Rumble page. How many people are with us, or were with us during the course of the show?
I see 4.
Yeah, it's saying 4, but I think that's us. I don't have any actual comments in Rumble. That's okay though. I don't mind because since YouTube and Google have stymied the ability to back up to Rumble, I simulcast to Rumble just to have the backup. That's really my goal. So, that's okay.
All right. CK says maybe Mad Dog's son was a bad apple who thought his dad was a badass, so he changed his name to Tannen. Maybe.
Yeah. Although I could totally see, running off to join his father's gang type of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why I made the Damian Wayne, reference.
Yeah. The farther you go back, the more ancestors you have exponentially. It's not just 2 people like Marty's parents that affects Biff's line.
True.
All right. Well,
LDG said, I was surprised I didn't screw Biff over entirely and he'll never had kids completely remove him from the future. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have, yeah. But it's not that kind of movie, so.
I think they wanted to limit how much they complicated the timeline.
Well, that, and I'm sitting here thinking, how many characters during the course of all 3 of these movies actually die? I don't think anybody does.
No, yeah, good point.
Yeah. Which is interesting for the movies that I usually watch, because there's always some kind of mayhem. You do get desensitized after
There
a while.
are, just like you mentioned, just like you mentioned with the shooting the sheriff scene being deleted. There's a lot of elements here that are implied, but not overtly shown, giving you plausible deniability. For example, in the original timeline, the idea that neither Marty nor George was there to rescue Lorraine. She was assaulted, and that has clearly had an impact on her. And you see that in that whole the peanut brittle scene, and your uncle's not getting out of jail, and she's drinking heavily.
That's always the first thing I think about when I see this. That's what I always think when I always think of when I see the first movie. Is
yes, it's not overt. The kids would miss that entirely, but adults catch that. The other one, which is even more subtle, and this may ruin everybody's childhood, me bringing this up, the explanation for the flux capacitor and hanging the clock. There's a lot of fans that think that he was down on his luck and he was looking to end his life. And he slipped and fell.
Here's one of the things. Okay, the first time Marty went back to 1955, Lorraine said, Marty, what a lovely name, or words to that effect.
Right.
Dad's great-great-great-grandfather was named Martin.
Yes.
Or uncle, or whatever he was named Martin.
Right.
So he would have already had that name in his head of, that's named one of my relatives.
I had speculated last Monday, that the fact that they didn't name their first child Marty could very well have been simply because there was some sort of family agreement that they were going to name the firstborn after some other...
Like her father or something.
Her father, or who knows, we never know where that name comes from. So the second one comes along, and Marty is absolutely got to happen. There's that kid that we met in school that helped us get together that we should name him after. And I had a grand uncle, I guess it would be, named Martin McFly. So, yeah. A lot of, like I said, there's a lot of, in quotes, coincidences that make certain elements of these stories inevitable. Kind of leads me to believe there's a little bit of, temporal destiny going on here.
Nope. Dave is
Yep.
Biff's kid. Confirmed. No. Just thinking. Anyway. Yeah.
No, she may not have been in the car,
Oh,
but I suspect that event actually happens, one way or the other. See, again, this is another thing where you have to look to the rules of time travel as laid out by Zemeckis, right? And he's definitely going with the whole time, just like you guys have brought up previously, the whole ripple effect, right? Like a pebble in the water.
You throw a pebble in a pond and you get ripples.
Exactly. By the same token, as a bigger element of comparison, time is a stream. So yes, you could have a little bit of splish splash here and there, but it always comes back to low ground, right? The river's always going to follow the path of least resistance. Time is going to do the same thing. So that's why you see, no matter how much manipulation you have on the part of Marty and Doc and the DeLorean, things tend to come back to the same general, what is affected? A generation or two of someone's family, right? Mm-hmm. The business model of the town, the names of the town and whatnot. But by and large, you don't have, Russia becoming the primary superpower in the 80s or something. Nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. You don't have World War III being set off in 1965 or something like that. It minimizes the changes.
Yeah.
Montana cattle rancher. There you go. Interesting.
All right. Cool. I would like to go ahead and thank everybody who joined us in the chat. I know
so many great people.
Yep.
I know over on my side we had Connie Cleary, and as well as Samuel Proctor. Yep. Big Al Presents, and of course Tim was with us, FKHC 2005. Everybody who joined us in the other chats, including CK, Nate, although he didn't get the notification until a few minutes ago, Nate is with us. LBG, of course, and Gary Ambrosia. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Jesse Guajardo. And everyone else. Of course, Aged Boomer. And everybody else that I might have missed along the way. Thank you all for being here. Or donation. Wilkie's Movies and Music. JPRPH1. Storyman Jack. All right. I think that was everybody who was live in the chat. And of course, anybody who might have been lurking in the background. There's always one or two. Perfectly fine. You do not have to engage with the chat, just as long as you enjoyed the show. Hit the like, share out the stream. And if you are new to any of our channels or to the channels of anyone in the chat, please subscribe.
Yes, indeed. Just do that. This has been truly great fun. Thank you, Troy and Netter and Deleted. This was a blast doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. I went into this stream saying I needed 19 viewer hours to hit my goal for monetization. And if my math is right, this stream alone may very well have done it. And
awesome.
This doesn't even take into account last Friday's last call or tomorrow night's double play.
I helped.
Yes, you all definitely did. So I thank you everybody for all of your help. And,
because you got what? We've been on for about 3 hours, so you've gotten at least three watch hours from me.
I am looking forward to maybe a midsummer celebration when I can announce monetization. That's my hope. So
awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Well, should we get to our parting words there, deleted scenes.
Yes. Would you like
everybody can?
Yes. Would you like me to make the 2 announcements that we have in the private chat here?
Absolutely, go for it.
All right, folks. Bill and I also co-host on Thursday afternoons Action Theater, and we have a treat for you this week. This week's Action Theater will be Godzilla -1.
Yep.
And for Western Cinema next week, Sam Peckinpah's classic Ride the High Country.
Yeah.
Very good film. So we got 2 really good movies coming up for you in the coming week.
Yep.
All right. Well, ladies
Well,
first.
Well,
okay. Sorry. Bill, go ahead.
Yes. No, Netter should go first.
Netter.
Let's see. What do I have coming up? Thursday, I have Mrs. Dadman Walking 55. And then I'll have Dadman Walking 55 a few weeks after that. But we get to hear from the Mrs. first. So she's going to talk all about her channel and herself. And, we get to hear all of that. She's new to me, so I'm really looking forward to learning all about her. I hope you guys are as well. Let's see, Saturday on Netter's Network, we are going to be having on Retro Cinema Dolores Claiborne.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you'll enjoy that. And of course, I co-host on Friday Night Last Call with the big guy. And then on Tuesday, yes, I'll also be on Deleted's channel for Sparkwood and 21.
Okay.
I think that's everything I'm attending this week.
Troy.
Yeah, so tomorrow night, as I kind of mentioned before, double feature, a summer special, summer school, and Wet Hot American Summer. And you guys know how I do that. I start off with the first one on YouTube, then I shut it down and we move over to Rumble for the rest of it, because I'm trying to build that channel over there as well. Got to diversify. Tuesday, I will, as Netter mentioned, I'll be hanging out with you guys for live from Sparkwood and 21. We are in between seasons now, so we are honoring the See You Again in 25 Years. We're going to start out with a couple of extraneous features, some fan films, and some other assorted extras. That'll be on Tuesday. Thursday, of course, I'll be with Netter on Netter's Network for the interview with Mrs. Dadman Walking. Friday, we haven't decided yet on what the stream will be. I've got a couple of irons in the fire, so I'm not ready to announce anything yet. But it will involve booze. It will involve some good conversation, and I hope you all can join me for that. That's Friday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. And then, of course, I'll be with Netter for the movie, and I will be on Geeky Geezers later tonight and next week, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Yeah, I'm getting busy. I'm learning from the best. I'm learning from deleted scenes.
Yeah, who needs sleep? It's overrated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why God invented caffeine, damn it.
You can do this. Yeah.
I'm going to have to break out our espresso maker just to keep you awake.
Yeah.
I will be back later tonight with another installment of the Insomniac Soup, starting at 10 p.m. Pacific. And then we'll be back here on Wednesday for some karaoke, and back on Thursday for the Action Theater Godzilla -1, and next Saturday some karaoke, and then Western Cinema again here next Sunday with Sam Peckinpah's Ride the High Country. And with that, I always say thank you, everyone, for being here. Remember always to be excellent to one another and party on. And we can't wait to see you on the next one. Now back to you, Diddly Scenes.
All right, back on over to me. Of course, as said, rejoin us here next week at 4 p.m. Eastern for Sam Peckinpah's Ride to High Country. In just about an hour from now will be my program Unscripted, episode 65. That is the precursor to Geeky Geezers, where we will be seeing Troy and Netter again, along with Aged Boomer over on his channel.
Yep.
I will be in the chat, as always, right after that. Get yourself a nice beverage and a snack, and join me right back here at 12:05 a.m. Eastern, 11:05 Central for The Other Side of Midnight, which will be episode 54. Of course, live from Sparkwood in 21, Tuesday night at 8:30. And then Thursday with Action Theater, Godzilla -1. My review for In a Violent Nature is now up on my channel. Please give that a view. I know that I say in the thumbnail that there are going to be spoilers, but I didn't. So don't worry about getting anything. Don't worry about the movie being spoiled for you. I don't. So check that out. And before I say my final words, Netter, would you like to say yours?
Sure. Please make sure that you are sub to every member of the panel as well as every member of the chat. And if you think you're sub, please go back and double check that you are still sub, because YouTube. And with that said, we can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys, you know you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. Thank you for being here and encouraging us. Thank you for encouraging one another. And until next time, good night and God bless. Or rather, good afternoon and God bless. Oh, no, I suppose it's evening, so good night and God bless.
All right. And as I always say as my closer, once again, thank all of you for being here. And catch us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. From HQ, our second home office in Arizona, our third home office somewhere in the Midwest there, or somewhere there, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.
Good night, everyone.
Catch you later.